don't want to get too near, although he was a very good bloke. And then, of course, if you start doing that, you'll have to get planning permission to be very good. I told them, don't even consider telling anybody, just dig the hole. Now, what I've seen is not only a decline in village life, but a huge decline in wildlife. Over the years, we saw species disappear completely. My favourite, I suppose, was the barn owl. Then there was the otter, sparrowhawk, kestrel, brown hare, and even flowers, orchids, cowslips, all of them vanished. And skylarks. Love skylarks. That's supposed to be a skylark. Our fields became silent, no skylarks singing over them. Reason? Simple. We farmers, and I'll say we, didn't know what we were doing years ago, and when chemicals came out, the scientists said, use them. They didn't know what they were talking about. DDT, dieldrin and all that had a devastating effect, and it wiped stuff out left, right and centre. Then the experts said, drain your fields, get rid of the wet corners, get rid of the trees, get rid of the hedgerows, increase production, and they had no idea what the adverse impact. That is an RSPB phrase, I have to say, but a good one. Adverse impact all these things would have on wildlife. And we saw it all disappear. And on the mainland too, we had stubble burning, which was dreadful, particularly bad for hares, because in the autumn, after harvest, then stubble burning, the hares had no food, no shelter, dreadful. Because I've been writing so long, I've made some extremely good friends over the years. I've interviewed them and became friendly with them. An artist in Cambridge wanted to film 2 pet foxes I had once. And that's another oddity, although I don't object to hunting. I really like foxes, a split personality. He wanted to come and film 2 pet foxes. He came along and Gordon Benningfield and I, we became extremely good friends. He was a watercolour painter, and until a few years ago he actually had a relative on Jersey who was a good supporter of us. And Gordon was brilliant. He loved the countryside. He was dyslexic. When he was at school they thought he was thick, but in fact he wasn't, and I had the privilege of sharing platforms with him everywhere. Very, very articulate, very, very sharp, and his paintbrush was absolutely amazing. So I got very friendly with Gordon and said, what do we do to get wildlife back? How can we repair the damage? And we didn't know. I also got very friendly with Lawrence van der Post, who was slagged off as immediately died, because, you know, that is Britain. Rubbish people when they're not here to defend themselves. And he was a fantastic conservationist, writer, traveller, etc. And he too, very worried at the way things were disappearing and had disappeared. So we decided we needed to get wildlife back on the farms, because all the countryside ought to be special, not just areas of scientific interest. And so we thought, how can we do it? We'll buy farms, and we'll farm in a wildlife-friendly way. And then we said, why should we? The RSPB should be doing this. It should be showing farmers what to do instead of criticising them and telling them what to do. So we tootled off to Sandy, and they gave us about 5 minutes and then showed us the door. They weren't a bit interested. They thought, these 2 old boys, what do they know? We've all got degrees. We know the difference between one end of a magpie and another. And so we didn't make any progress. We had no members, we had no money, we had no land. What should we do? And then suddenly, a beautiful blonde knocked on my door. And that hadn't happened since I was 8. And she said, "Come with me, I've got to show you something under the bridge." And that hadn't happened since I was 10. And so I tootled off, and an otter dropped in the brook where otters had disappeared. And she did the usual dirty thing. She picked it up, smelt it, and I thought, "You disgusting woman." And then she let me smell it, and of course it was absolutely delicious. And I started dribbling, and I could have had it in a sandwich, and it was really wonderful. And you could see the fish scales and bones in it, and it smelled just like bloater paste, and it was otters were back. And I have to say that we've still got otters, and it's brilliant. The only odd thing about it is that as otters have become quite common, bloater paste has disappeared and become extinct, and that is something I don't understand. If anybody does understand that, I need a bottle of bloater paste. Now, we then launched, and we went to a financial advisor, not a financial advisor on Jersey, I hasten to add, but somebody just as highly paid. And we said, "What do we do? We want to buy land. The otter is back in our parish. We want to buy land. We want to help." And he said, "Don't do it. You'll only raise £2,000. People won't be interested in wildlife-friendly farming, so don't bother." And for that, he charged us £5,000. We didn't pay him because we launched it in the Daily Telegraph. Money flooded in, and I have to tell you that now, 21 years later, we have 6 farms dotted about the country. We have 3 small holdings, and on our Cambridgeshire farm, which has increased 450 acres, we have got wildlife back, which has amazed me. We had barn owls come back after 35 years. I thought we would have to reintroduce them, but they came back on their own. Otters are still there. We have fields full of cowslips. We have harvest mice. We have water voles. Water voles disappeared because of mink. We got rid of the mink, and the water voles have come back on their own. Bunny huggers are appalled. You shouldn't kill those lovely, cuddly mink. Do you want water voles, ratting, or do you want mink? The choice is as simple as that. We decided we want nature.